Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, coming to you with a little bit of an echo because I'm in Casa de Lascar, so we're gonna try to move myself a little bit so that I am not echoing as much as I am here. But we got Laskers, we got Gingy, we got the Bugaboo joining us in the room. Uh, Last week's game, not much to say about it. Gingy Laskers takes on last week's game. You know, the smackdown by the Bills, as we'll call it.
Shakedown. Beat the brakes off of him, Donkey. One of the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime. Let's see. That's a failure on all three phases. That's offensive failures. We're supposed to have a skill unit that is top-notch. Young guys, up and coming. Nope, nope, and nope. Defense, oh my goodness. No secondary. Gabe Davis, Moss and everybody taking Minka Fitzpatrick to the cleaners. Oh,
Yep.
special teams. Special teams. Donkey. Failure on all three phases. That's all I gotta say.
There was a 60-yard punt followed by a 20-yard punt. There was, what else do we want to talk about? Two missed field goals by Boswell that were very makeable.
Oh,
My player of the year, X Factor of the year, not looking so good this last week, and I'm definitely disappointed. And Minka, come on, buddy, you gotta make that play. Here, come on, Micah, come over here. Say it again. You gotta make that play. You gotta. We weren't gonna win that game, but you gotta make that play. You gotta make that field goal. And you got to make the second field goal that he missed.
That's true.
Good job, buddy.
Leaving points on the field is a terrible thing there. Gingy, though, the offense moved the ball a lot better this week. I mean, Kenny Pickett, from the 20 to the 20, as he said, they were moving the ball pretty well. There were 3-and-outs that were kind of a concern. But is there some positives going forward we can take? I mean, I understand the touchdowns weren't there, but at least the ball seemed to be moving in ways it hadn't, at least under Mitch Trubisky.
the only positives moving forward, to get another unit, another week of experience for that unit together. That is the future. And I know that, Steelers Nation ain't all about rebuilding. It's all been about reloading, but Donkey, this is rough right now. This is rough times.
It is. The Steelers haven't been a team that has to rebuilt before. There's been some retooling, especially in the last, let's call it, since the turn of the millennia. But every team goes through this. Look at Jacksonville, look at Buffalo, look at all those teams. You have to have the bad years to have the good years. The Steelers were kind of the oddity. Welcome to the real world, Steelers fans. And if you don't like it, then you're really just not a Steelers fan. You're a bandwagon fan, and you only liked it because of success. And obviously, you're not a Pittsburgh fan because you'd be a Pirates fan, and you understand how rare success can be, let's just say. But you have to look in seasons like this, because let's be honest, TJ Watt lost. This is now more of a developmental season than a production season, right? So you have to look at the positives. You have to find the gold lining. I'm going to say what it is. I did in the podcast or the Bugcast earlier this week how bad it was, and there's really no positives to take overall from the game, but individual perspectives you can. You're starting to see a little more fiery attitude, whether it be Pickens defending himself, getting his knee hit. How about James Daniels jumping in there and laying out DeMar Hamlin after that late hit on Kenny Pickett that wasn't called? Those are the type of things you need to see going forward, is some fire built on this team, because let's remember, this is an offense with no starters who've been in the league over 5 years, right, Lasker? So maybe we should just start looking for the golden spots on this team and hope to see some growth so that next year we can really see where we need to add to maybe get to that competitive level.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is there's fire in that offense. They look good. I mean, I love the offensive line coming to Pickett's defense. That was definitely a very late hit that should have been called. I mean, we should not have been flagged for it. I understand why we were, but we shouldn't have been flagged for it. And come on, Deontay. On third down, you gotta make those catches inbounds.
How about
That's
fourth down?
bad. Oh, that too. You gotta make those catches. You're a number one. You cannot Mike is agreeing with me 100%. You cannot make those plays where you don't make that play. He is playing like a college wide receiver, not a number one in the NFL.
I have a real big question here, Bug. I'll go to you before I go to Gingy on this one. I'll let you answer it. Is part of the Steelers' problem that you're seeing is part of the problem that you're seeing with the Steelers going into this? Is it more the fact that the last 2 or 3 draft classes, instead of drafting guys who are potential starters, we're drafting guys who are specialists, who fit in a very micro role, who don't really like Norwoods, those type of guys who are sub-package players and aren't starting players? Are we starting to see the problem with bringing in a lot of guys like that, and the fact that we are in now these roles where that's happening and these guys are having to be put in starting positions and they're not able to get the job done when given the opportunity? Bug, what you think?
Yeah. That
sure.
actually.
All right, Gingy, you want to elaborate on that? Do you see that as a problem potentially? It's just the way we've been acquiring personnel that is putting us in this situation when guys are on the field, they're in losing situations because they're not, as Tomlin likes to call them, they're not starters in waiting. They're sub-package players in waiting.
Well, hindsight being 2020, yeah, we can talk about the Trey Norwoods, the 4th, 5th round guys all you want. Let's talk about our 1st and 2nd round guys panning out. Chase Claypool, I've been hearing rumors that they're talking about trying to move him while there's any value left. The 6'2" wide receiver that plays like he's 5'6". And I don't know, I'm not necessarily. Man, he's had a rough development. So
5'6",
some of those guys,
4'6".
some of these guys really need to be. Donkey, I understand what you're talking about with the conversation with Trey Norwood, but this problem bigger in late round drafting problems.
I hear you. I agree. It's not just late round. You can go early round too. You're talking Najee Harris, a guy who doesn't have explosiveness out of the backfield. You're talking Pat Freiermuth, a guy who can't run block. You are right. We're wasting 1st and 2nd round guys on guys who have a specific skill set that can make them a good player, but who aren't developing the way you want. I mean, Freiermuth, with all his concussions, his still inability to run block is kind of concerning. The fact that they don't throw him the ball as much as often. Najee looking like he's diminishing his role to an undrafted guy in Jaylen Warren. And you're talking about, wouldn't it look so much better if we had drafted 2 guys like Tevin Jenkins in a 1st round pick, and then a 2nd round pick went out and got the best center in football right now, Creed Humphrey? I mean, say what you want, but Colbert's last few drafts, ignoring the offensive and defensive lines, huge mistakes it seems to be, right?
Looking that way now, Donkey.
Looked that way last year when Ben had to throw the ball in 2 seconds. You know that ain't Ben Roethlisberger football. But let's not underemphasize the fact that, Gingy, this is another week where, did Josh Allen even get pressured the whole week last year? Like, was there a single quarterback pressure in that game? Like, I'm pretty sure I never saw Alex Highsmith in the backfield.
I'm pretty sure he didn't get pressured at all. That was very bad defense. I mean, if he got pressured once, I'd be surprised. And actually, I'm gonna go look at that. Hang on a second.
Well, Alaska's just breaking that down.
Actually, don't tell me on this thing, so I'm gonna have to go somewhere else.
Did you have any lasting images from this Buffalo game before we move on, or is this just kind of a it was terrible, the team got spanked, throw the tape away?
No lasting images for me, thankfully. That sounds like trauma. No, we're ready to move forward.
My lasting image was Mike Tomlin's press conference afterwards, because you could just tell that team had got defeated, and the fact that I had never watched a Steelers game where at the start of the 4th quarter it said, "We're sorry, but we're going to take you to a more competitive football game." So that was kind of fun for me. A couple of first, not in the good way, but hey, Gingy, rookie records, Kenny Pickett, completions, yards. Anything positive to take from that?
Try again later.
It's like a magic 8-ball that I don't want to shake right now.
That's about it, Donkey. I mean, come on. We're talking about paid professionals out here. 38-3. That's disrespectful. 98-yard touchdown. Disrespectful.
Worst
I know.
loss since 1989. Worst loss since 1989. Me and Donkey weren't even live yet.
Long
That's
time ago.
fair.
I was
That's
quite
fair.
young, not even viewership age yet. Talking on this, but man, yeah, that's a tough break. Like I said, now let's give credit where credit's due. Buffalo is a unit. I'm feeling, and they're going to be a unit to be contended with long into the season.
Mhm.
Oh, Josh
But
Allen
for-
looked good.
But for a fan of a team that is typically right up there with those echelon of teams, I'm not saying number one every year, but at least competitive with those teams. It ain't even close.
No, nope. It is 2.5 steps from it. Well, let's move forward. Let's talk about a positive foot because this game hasn't happened, so good things could still happen. We're going to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. I believe we've faced them 11 times in our history. We are 9-2. The most recent matchup was a win by the Steelers, 30-27 in 2018. The biggest win of the season was the history was the first time we ever played. The Steelers beat Tampa Bay 42-0 in 1976. If you're curious, that is the season the Tampa Bay Buccaneers failed to win a football game. Tampa Bay's biggest win was a whopping 16-3 victory over the Steelers in 1998. The last two games, by the way, we won at Tampa Bay, but the last game at Pittsburgh was won by the Buccaneers 27-24. This game is at Acrisure Stadium. There is no stats for any team at Acrisure Stadium that is in the NFC yet, as no NFC foes have played us at Acrisure. So this will be the first time we play an NFC team in Acrisure Stadium. Can we at least start off with a win in Acrisure Stadium? First ever win in Acrisure Stadium. Like I said to Micah before we came, I want this to be Kenny Pickett's first ever win and Tom Brady's last ever loss. Since the Buccaneers are my second favorite team, that would mean the Bucs probably win the Super Bowl. It'd be pretty cool to see the first ever Steeler win at Acrisure Stadium since you're here to see it, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Before we get to Gingy and Laskers to break down some of this, I want to go over the Steelers injury report with you, Gingy. Let me know how this makes you feel. Cameron Sutton, Akila Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, Minka Fitzpatrick, Pat Freiermuth, and DeMarvin Leal all ruled out from the game. Are we even going to have enough players to suit up? Like, is someone going to give Mason Rudolph a jersey finally just because we don't have enough active players?
Mason for
That-
tight end.
That donkey is a rough go. I got nothing to say about that.
I don't think we have a single
That's no
player
secondary.
healthy.
That's no secondary.
And this might be
really.
the first game since week 1 that Tampa Bay has all of their receivers healthy, as Julio Jones is the only one on their injury list listed as doubtful. They're also missing Akeem Hicks, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Logan Ryan on the defense. Those three are ruled out. But Julio Jones might play. You might get the plethora of receivers for Tom Brady. This is the Tom Brady who's owned the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's be honest. Lasker's reason for concern with no secondary, a healthy Tampa Bay receiving core, and, well, what happened last week?
We have no pressure on quarterbacks. That's a huge factor for concern. We should have actually been able to pressure Josh Allen a little bit. Maybe just, one or two plays. But we're not even close.
No.
Ask you what you want to be asked. Do you think that the Steelers bring in... Here, Micah, we'll go to you, Bug. You think the Steelers bring in only 4-man pressures when it's showing that's not enough to get to the quarterback? Do you think that's a way to be successful, or do you think they need to start dialing up some blitzes to get themselves back there? Yeah, what?
Big days.
Blitzes? Yeah, I think so. Gingy, you want to elaborate on that? I mean, why, when we know we cannot get pressure with 4, why are we being so stubborn and still only bringing 4?
I don't know, Donkey. That defense is in shambles, man. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a unit rely so much on one guy as they had in that Steeler land there. The only way I think they make it through this week, Donkey, is with some physicality. And hearkening to better times, you mentioned the last time the Steelers played, you said 2018 they played the Bucs?
2018 was the last matchup. Yep.
2018. We need a recipe for some physical football. and I recall
We
a
need some
Vance Mc,
Stephon to it.
I recall a Vance McDonald stiff arm heard round the world where Connie just got launched, man. And we need some recreation of that level of physicality in this week's game if they're going to consider having a W.
Najee's got to step up and do the same thing.
Nah, Jaylen Warren, dude. You want to watch a physical running back? Watch 5'9" little Jaylen Warren lay some smack down. If you didn't get to see it, put on Merrill Hodges' tape this week where he broke down both Kenny Pickett and Jaylen Warren's play. And Jaylen Warren isn't afraid to get in there and hit some people, Gingy. Maybe a bigger dose of him this week. That's what Mike Tomlin's been saying.
Tomlin's not
I'm all
committal.
for it. I'm all for it. Physical football. That's the recipe, donkey. That's what they need.
I hear that. Would it make you feel a little better if I was to say that Tampa Bay's offense has only scored over 21 points once this year, and it was in a loss? But then again, their defense has only given up over 15 points once this year, so a team that seems to be playing really good defense and has been struggling on offense, that seems like the recipe to be a disaster for the Steelers, Laskers. I mean, because our offense has been luckily somehow not the worst in the league and scores about the same amount of points as last year's defending champs, the Rams, so we got that going for us. But then we have a defense that just there's probably some colleges, Alabama, that would put up 40 points on our defense right now.
I think there's some colleges that might score 100 on our defense right now. Our defense is looking real bad and real suspect. This is gonna be a tough game. I hope we can, hold them to 21 points.
That's true. And Gingy, but there has to be some attitude here of these players getting an opportunity to prove themselves, going out there and doing it. Look at people who've done it for the Steelers before, whether we're talking Ahkello Witherspoon, we're talking go in the past to guys like James Ferrier, to guys like Chris Hoke, guys who you didn't know about, weren't supposed to do anything, all of a sudden have to be injury replacements, but they go out and they show it. I mean, heck, Bryce McCann, while he wasn't great, he came in for an injury, and he showed out to be our best cornerback for a year, and then went on to sign a decent contract with someone else, which getting paid for him was a nice thing. But you need to start seeing some step up. I mean, you're looking at guys out there. This is a good time for Arthur Millette to really show his leadership like he was trying to show in the preseason. Maybe a time for Trey Norwood to show he can actually be something more than a nickel backer. Is this a time for he who shall not be named to maybe go out there and make some plays? Looking at guys like Josh Jackson probably going to be elevated.
Absolutely not. Who should not be named.
Well, he's gonna have to step up. He's gonna be one of two corners playing on the outside. You're gonna have to assume it's gonna be him and Josh Jackson elevated off the practice squad again to be taking these spots. Someone in the secondary has to step up and make a play. I understand we did have an interception last week in Levi Wallace, but he's not gonna be here. Time for some some practice teamers to maybe earn themselves a roster spot, Gingy? Is there anyone out there you think has the ability? I talked so long I put Gingy to sleep, I think. Laskers, do you think any of these practice squad guys have a chance?
No, I really don't think that any of
My
them
bad.
do.
I
I hope that they do.
I was enamored by your speech, donkey. I'm just trying to sit here and think.
Micah, who's
there's
gonna
no
step up
solution to
this
this.
week?
There's no solution to this presently.
Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Kenny Pickett.
I
There
think
we
Micah
go.
has the
Micah
solution
says
for
Kenny
us.
Pickett is gonna step up.
That is
No.
the solution for us. I think Micah's right. Kenny Pickett.
It has to be. That's going to have to be rallying around.
We're gonna have to put
Donkey, what I
like
was gonna,
30 points up.
I was gonna say you made the point earlier that I'm most worried about this week, and that is the Tampa Bay receiving corps really, really outmatches most starting DBs, most starting secondaries, and with the Steelers being beat up, Mike Evans, oh my God. So
The
but
best
you stop
receiver
Tom
in
Brady.
football that no one talks about.
You stop Tom Brady now the way you've always stopped Tom Brady, though, with pressure up the middle. So you either do it or you don't, and you get carved or you don't. So we'll see.
It's a good time, I'm going to say right now, for the Pittsburgh Steelers to do a Mike Tomlinism and not live in their fears. It's time to put those practice squad guys on an island and see if they can play football, because you can either die the death of a million cuts, or you can go out there swinging, and who knows, you go out there swinging, maybe Brady makes 1 or 2 mistakes, and that's enough to sway a football game. But I don't see any way, Gingy, and tell me what
Here,
your feel,
take that one.
what your thoughts are on this.
I need this
I
one.
don't see any way the Pittsburgh Steelers keep with this 4-man pressure and have a chance to win a football game. They have to get pressure to Brady. They have to bring blitzes. I understand there's some injuries to the offensive line in Tampa, but it's not going to work unless we're out there pushing it at them, right? Like, we have to push the envelope forward. We cannot play in our fears like we did in Buffalo. We can't let Buffalo get the opening kickoff and go 98 yards and just set the tone. We need to get out there, play one, step one, be aggressive. If aggressive leads to big plays, so what? But you need to be aggressive and not die in a shell. Because let's not forget, the 98-yard touchdown to start the Buffalo game was in a shell coverage that was a 2-deep safety that Norwood bit up early. We need to be aggressive, need to take it to them. Do you think they'll do it, Gingy?
I hope that. I mean, the tape should tell you that, right? If you watch tape on that game, an explanation that you just gave should definitely be considered moving forward. So why wouldn't you? We got to see some different packages on that defense. You're not gonna fool Tom Brady. You're not gonna scare him into submission. We always talk about the Steelers versus rookie quarterbacks and how well they do. Well, even that hasn't been going that well this season versus young quarterbacks. But you're not going to do anything gimmicky and win here. But in the death by 1,000 cuts, that's what we always see versus this guy.
Yeah, I don't think bend but break is going to work this week. Laskers, any closing thoughts for you on the Steelers going this time? I mean, your boy Boswell better show up is all I'm going to say, because if there's a chance for a clutch field goal, we can't be shanking them. You're talking to yourself, Laskers. I don't know why, but you are.
All right. No, we can't be shanking field goals. Sorry, I muted myself. Just so it was easier so you could yell. But no, we can't be shanking field goals. That's ridiculous. We can't afford that. I mean, we would have never won last week. We weren't even close to winning that game. Micah, can you stop shining that in my face?
There's flashlight wars going on right now. It's not safe
Yep.
in this house.
It's not at all. I picked up my flashlight the wrong way. But no, we gotta pressure the quarterback.
There you go.
That's the biggest thing. We gotta get a guy through the center. I mean, if we can't pressure the quarterback, we're doomed.
True. Gingy, any closing thoughts for you before we get to some nice predictions and X Factors?
I agree. We need pressure up the middle, like I said, versus Tom Brady. It's going to be hard pressed this week. Donkey, who's going to be the guy in there? That's the question. No Hayward, no Leal. Leal's been having a heck of a season. Are we going to see...
Well, Hayward should be playing, but yeah, Leal is out for the game.
Well,
That's
we
a big
definitely
hurt.
need to say Hayward in there then, and who else on that side? Wormley,
The guy
maybe.
who has to step up it has to be Montravius Adams, because Ryan Jensen's out. He was the Buccaneers starting center. He got hurt in the preseason for the whole year. They're playing a backup at center. You have to win where you have a starter against backup. That means we have to win right in the middle. It has to be pressure coming from Montravius Adams or pressure coming from linebackers. I mean, I want to see Miles Jack. I want to see Devin Bush, Ryan Spillane, Marcus Allen, whoever's in there. I want to see some. Let's double the gaps in the center, and let's send the boys home and see what happens. That's where it has to be won. It has to be won between the center and the guard. That's where Tampa Bay is weak. That's where you can exploit it. That's old school Steeler football. Honestly, what I'd love to see is some packages as Larry Ogunjobi, Chris Wormley on the outsides, and you have Cam Hayward playing in the middle. That'd be a really fun package to see. Be a way to catch them off guard. Or even if you want to put Ogunjobi in the middle, one of those guys who's better at getting off the ball, whether it be Ogunjobi or Hayward, playing in the middle, blitzing the middle linebacker, and see if they can stop it.
Let's go. That's the recipe, baby.
All right, let's start with some picks in the AFC North. I believe we have the Brownies playing the Patriots at Cleveland. Who you guys got?
Gingy, you can go first.
That's a tough call, Donkey. I'm gonna go Patriots. Brownies are just brownies. Are gonna brownie it up somehow.
I'm gonna go the Browns by 3 at home.
Binky told me the Patriots would win, so I'm going with the Patriots. That's a simple choice. We got the Bengals versus New Orleans, and I think this might have a little fun to it, because isn't Andy Dalton starting for the Saints? Who you guys got?
I think so. I'm gonna go Andy Dalton by 6 since it's home.
Oh man, I think I got the Bengals in this one, Donkey.
I too like the Bengals at the Saints here. Someone eventually in the AFC North, which was supposed to be a strong division, has to start playing strong. So I'm gonna put my money on the Bengals, and I'm gonna actually put my money on someone else here. But there's a good reason for that. Who you guys like in the Baltimore taking on the 4-1 Giants? Gingy Danny Dimes leading the G-men to the 4-1 record.
I don't know. Talking about leading the team, Saquon. Saquon having a heck of a comeback here. Still gonna go Ravens in this one, Donkey. Last couple weeks, haven't seen Lamar in there really make it a big difference. I don't think that he's gonna slump for too long. I think he bounces back. Ravens this week.
That's fair. The Ravens, a team that looked like they were really explosive on offense and only scoring 23 and 19 over the last 2 weeks. Laskers, who'd you like in that game?
I'm going Giants just because of Binky. You know, he chimed in our ear, you know, as a outside influence. But actually, I was probably gonna go with Giants because they're at home. But Giants by 3. I know I already picked that with the Browns, but.
So I'm pretty sure I predicted every Ratbirds game wrong. So you know what, Ratbirds? I'm predicting you to win, because why not keep the wrong streak going? I kind of hope. So we'll see if it's a true thing that happens. But I think they're a little too talented offensively for the Giants, a team that's been challenged offensively this year. I mean, you're talking a team that very consistent, though. They scored about 20 points every game, except for one game where they scored 27, which is the biggest outlier. Every other game's been right around that 20-point mark. I'm not sure that's enough to beat the Ravens, so I gotta like Baltimore there. And now we get to go to the Steelers game. Steelers, Buccaneers. We get to pick X Factors. God, I really, like I said, I want this to be Kenny Pickett's first win, Tom Brady's last loss. I just don't see a world where that happens. This team's not there yet. I'm going to look for some positive signs, and maybe Kenny can carry us to a victory, but I'm thinking it's going to be a 38-24 victory for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not your Pittsburgh Steelers. Acrisure Stadium still looking for the first ever Steelers win. And the X Factor is going to be simple. It's that Steelers secondary. It's going to be Mike Evans, Chris Godwin being unstoppable against a bunch of he's who shall not be named type of players.
Oh.
Laskers, what you thinking?
I had to remember to unmute myself again. Oh boy. I hope he who shall be named is not going to be that good. But I hope he does perform. I'm going Micah, that's really bright. 24-20. Unfortunately, Buccaneers. But my X factor is Jaylen Warren. I hope he can perform. And I actually agree. I think he's the better running back. The only problem is I've read a lot of the things from Tomlin, and he's unwilling to commit to Jaylen Warren. And that's a problem because Najee is not the answer, and it hurts.
I really hope that Najee's not the answer because it's more of his foot injury than anything else for going forward things. But before we get to Gingy, gotta tap myself on the pat. I absolutely picked Buffalo's points last week perfectly. Good job. I stole Gingy's crystal ball for half of my prediction. Gingy, what you got going on this week in the X Factor?
You know what? It's been doom and gloom this whole episode, Donkey. This whole show. Somebody
hard
needs
not
to
to be.
have faith. Somebody needs to have faith in Steeler Nation. We're gonna have one of them physical slugfests. It's gonna be ugly. Tom Brady's gonna be smashing,
Smashing pumpkins.
smashing. He's gonna be smashing. Oh man, and we're looking for a knockdown, drag out fest, baby. Steelers, 19-16. X Factor, Alex Highsmith, right up in his face. Let's go.
I'm over here doing my Dark Crystal part for you. I'd love to see it happen.
I
Hopefully
need it.
it does.
My spirit needs it.
Every Steelers fan spirit needs it, or else we have to relinquish the fact that this is just a hey, let's figure out what we got and what we can build off type of season, which
Say it ain't
I've kind of
so.
already relegated myself to that, Gingy, but I love the optimism. I hope you're right. Anyone, any closing thoughts on this before we get to some shout outs?
I have no closing thoughts.
Let's go.
All that means is Tom Brady's now allowed to focus on football again. 'Cause as soon as he probably heard that word, he's like, well, I don't care anymore. It's all football. He's going to play till he's 50, and he's going to be smoking people till he's 50. But neither here nor there. Gingy, closing thoughts?
No shout outs. Donkey, I tried that last week and I went against my better judgment and still shouted out and look what happened. No shout outs till I see
You
something
know what?
better.
It's 100% Gingy's fault for what happened. I agree. He gave a shout out after a bad week. How dare he?
Damn it, Donkey.
Alright, Bugboo. Hey, Bugboo, you want to come predict the game and give a shout out before we all call it a day? Who do you think's going to win this game? Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay?
Papers and Cloud.
There we go. I like it. Any
Yeah.
shout outs from last week's game?
Here, no,
That's a no. He's running away.
going the wrong way.
Um,
Shout out Kenny.
Alright, well, he's being quiet on the mic. There we go. Laskers, do you have any shout outs from last week's game?
I gotta give a shout out to George Pickens. He looked good. He's looked good when the ball's thrown to him. I mean, he's made some amazing plays. The one person I would not shout out is Deontay. Yeah, he's made some great catches, but they're not in play.
Also dropping fourth down passes between his hands, not a good one. So I guess that leaves it to me. Shout out has to be to Kenny Pickett. You know I'm a lover for records. I gave a shout out to Najee last year when he broke records even through extra games. So shout out has to go to Kenny Pickett, and shout out for Laskers for hosting us at the Casa de Laskers. It's always a fun time to come visit. But I'm going to let you know, I am the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey with Ginger is YouTube channel. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave a follow. Click the little button that lets you pop up to let you know when I put out all the new shows. I mean, this week we had debut of JD and the Bugga Cap, and if you didn't get to catch that, you should go get it, because JD's the best yes man I've ever had in my corner. I don't know if he knows any other words but yes and Big Pen, but hey, I absolutely loved it. I broke down the first power index of the season. Laskers and Gingy now have homework every week of a top 10 to give to me to give the power rankings for Donk Nation, because the power index goes into a score with them. And spoiler alert for anyone who didn't see it, the best team in the power index, the Bills, played the worst team in the power index, the Steelers, and well, the result was expected. What can I say? But yeah, I love to hear if there's any other content people want. I love putting out the new things. It's fun. I'm having a good time putting it out. These 3 content pieces were the ones I planned on putting out 2 years ago, but I got myself delayed because, well, stuff happens and there's light shining in my face sometimes, and it just is too distracting to do what you need to do. But without further ado, I'll send it over to Laskers to let you know what's going on over there.
Well, Laskers everywhere, and now I got the light shining in my face. But I'm gonna turn the light off on him. But Micah, what do you want to say to shout out the end of the? You gotta come over here, buddy. What do you want to say? You gotta say it in the mic. That was Kenny Pickett for anyone that couldn't understand. And
Let's
also,
go.
I will actually agree with Donkey that JD is definitely his best yes man because I listened to that show this week, the Bug Cap, and JD's really good at being yes. And I don't know why because we played like uh you know bad stuff. I don't want to say. But Gingy, over to you.
Holy smoke, Steelers Nation. There were highs and lows and a lot of lows last week, folks. Come on. Here we go, Steelers. Wave 'em if you got 'em. We need a dub. Nuts out football.